Salutations everybody, it is Matty here today, and I've always wanted to create an Overwatch video, but I wanted it to be unique. There are loads of lore videos and news videos, so what could I create? That's when I realized I have a crippling addiction to this game, and I should probably just talk about that. Why am I so hooked to Overwatch? I've been playing this game multiple days a week since it launched back in May, and I have never experienced this with a video game before. You may not feel that same excitement as I do for Overwatch, but do keep in mind this is my opinion, and you are entitled to your own. Now, let's get into why exactly I'm so addicted to this game. It is the shooter I have longed for since I was 14 years old, and I am now 21. Like a lot of teenagers, at that age, I was up to my ears in Call of Duty. One day, like many others, I said enough is enough and decided to wait until a shooter came out that was balanced, replayable, and had a unique hook to it. For me, that was Overwatch. So many game developers to this day talk about how they're making a balanced multiplayer experience, but there is always that one weapon, one perk, or one tool that can be easily abused. Overwatch is relatively free from that. Sure, there are hero combos that can dominate, such as a Reinhardt and a Bastion alongside a Mercy. There's also a counter to each and every hero in the game, leading to an unprecedented level of strategy and teamwork that can lead to comebacks as well as every match being intense. With every hero comes strengths and weaknesses, but I've realized that those that are dedicated to a certain hero and playstyle can overcome a lot of their heroes' shortcomings to make an ultimate difference in a match. Considering each hero is respectively strong and weak in diverse categories, it causes you to lean on your teammates even heavier to make up for any shortcomings you have. A good example is a diva who doesn't do too much damage and can lose health quite fast if going in a 2-on-1, but if you have a Mercy at your back constantly refilling your health as you're on the attack, you might be able to take out an enemy before quickly escaping. The hero personalities. Seriously, you can make a game, a movie, a show based off any of these characters. Blizzard fuels the personality of each of its heroes in Overwatch through the various emotes, skins, voice lines,
someone say peanut butter,
sprays, and so on. Even the multiplayer maps are designed to be created around themes in the Overwatch lore and tend to pertain to a certain character. A more recent example is how Antarctica is centered around May. Other maps, such as Eichenwald, will connect to stories about Reinhardt and Bastion, in which more backstory is revealed through personal monologues or conversations between heroes before the match starts. This interaction, camaraderie, and sometimes even disdain between the members of Overwatch is intriguing as we learn more about the mystery of this band of heroes. Spinning off of the hero personalities, another reason I'm constantly hooked into Overwatch is the multimedia story, as I like to call it. I tend to despise this tactic to its very core. An example of that would be Destiny, as the story was told in the Grimoire out of the game. I've always been a stern believer that if the game is attempting to tell the story, that it should be a part of the game itself. Overwatch is a very special exception to this belief I have. As much as I would love a story mode in Overwatch, part of the charm and ongoing fun with this title is the marketing both in and out of the game that Blizzard does. Animated shorts, which give us a deeper look at our favorite heroes, sometimes even having players develop soft spots for heroes that aren't all that loved. On top of that, are comics that fuel the lore of Overwatch even more. Blizzard masterfully tucks away Easter eggs into each update of Overwatch, which fuels fan speculation on upcoming heroes and maps. Sometimes, those Easter eggs aren't even in-game. Sombra, the latest hero addition to Overwatch, had a multi-month ARG that strung fans along as they discovered hidden websites, code within trailers, or even her possibly lurking in the background. All these aspects tie together and make Overwatch a joy to engage in even when I'm not playing the game. Speaking of all those additions, the constant support that Blizzard gives the title is reassuring that as long as I'm playing, that they'll be working. It's a constant battle to continuously tinker heroes to alter the meta of the game, where more recently, we are seeing heroes like Widowmaker and Torbjorn, who are almost never touched in the competitive scene, now making a return. These patches that tweak the heroes around make returning to Overwatch an interesting experience, as I see these heroes transform more and more over time. Some heroes even receive entire overhauls based on fan feedback. D.Va was the first and only to receive that, and she is now a more common choice in the tank category. Symmetra is up next, and it's relieving to know that Blizzard is closely listening to the community. It never feels like our opinion is falling on deaf ears, and that's important with multiplayer games. Let's be honest though, patches are a standard in the games industry. I expect this sort of stuff, but other updates that Overwatch receives, such as holiday themed events like the Halloween Horde mode or Lucio Ball. These are welcome surprises and good changes from the standard competitive play that a lot of us delve into. Speaking of Lucio Ball, I felt that highlighted what was another reason I'm so gripped by Overwatch, the flexibility of its game engine. I can't think of many other shooters that can go from a competitive play to its very own version of Rocket League, plus a Horde mode. Well, wait, there's Gears of War, but you get my point, okay? I've never experienced a crash or a bit of lag, and I say that as someone who is a primary console pleb when it comes to this game. And this is also, mind you, coming from someone who specializes in Bethesda games, so seeing this stable engine that doesn't give us much issues is always a very big bright spot for someone like myself. Moving on, the community for Overwatch is fantastic. Never in my life have I seen a group of gamers in this industry who are so consistently positive, supportive, and willing to work with the developers. It reminds me of Fallout 4 before the game launched, but instead that excitement carried on and continued after the game was out. Seeing moments on Twitter, for example, where the voice actors of the heroes of Overwatch are all meeting up at BlizzCon and talking to one another in their characters is just pure bliss.
What time is it?
That ain't gonna work this time, Lucia. Step off.
It's high noon.
It's amazing being a part of something so tight-knit and relatively upbeat in video games. Lastly, I want to roll it back to the game itself. Some people aren't good at Overwatch, but they still manage to have fun. I truly don't believe you can say that about any other shooter out there. A hero is out there for everyone, and it may take a little to find someone who suits your playstyle, but even then, you still may struggle with the game. Overwatch is a title that has made playing a support and healing equally as important as an attacker who is getting his elimination count up. A lot of games nowadays are based on just that KD ratio, but Overwatch changes the way people play, rewarding people with eliminations. Even if you put one shot into that person, you help take them down, where pushing for those kills isn't as much of a necessity because they're a lot easier to get, thus highlighting other categories and roles in the game. For example, like this support role, where people will love playing as Mercy because they know they're making as big of an impact as someone who is shooting someone else. And mind you, I'm not saying that support players are bad, but I've just noticed that players who struggle to rack up eliminations will find their place in support as they help the team in other ways and thus find their place in helping win the game. Anyway, those are 7 reasons why I am absolutely addicted to Overwatch. I play this game, as I said in the beginning, on a weekly basis and can't get enough of it, and I'm excited to play this for many years to come. I have never done this with a video game before, but Overwatch is the first, and I can say it's easily one of my favorite games ever created, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on Overwatch in the comments down below. Be sure to share this video, follow me on Twitter, like me on Facebook. The links are, as always, in the description down below. Check out SugarBomb.com, the place by Bethesda fans for Bethesda fans. Other than that, stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.